Coming up on the Extra Point, we've got you covered on all you missed from the annual spring game.
And we've got everything you need to know about how the Topperettes fared out at Nationals. Stay tuned.
The Extra Point.
Hey y'all, and welcome to the Extra Point. I am Haley Shongart.
And I'm Elizabeth Medley.
You know, Elizabeth, our friendship really started over Extra Point, so we really owe the show a lot. You know, I'm super grateful to be able to be right here next to you at the desk anchoring with you, so let's just get started.
Let's go. The WKU softball team traveled to Cookeville, Tennessee this past Wednesday to battle Tennessee Tech. The game was pretty slow because of the stellar pitching from Kelsey Ike and Alyssa Arden. WKU brought the heat when they scored 4 runs in the 9th inning, while Tennessee Tech could only score 1. WKU junior Paige Carter hit a home run, while Jordan Thomas, Kendall Smith, and Shannon Pleas all slid into home base. Defensively, WKU's pitcher Kelsey Ike was the player of the game as she had a total of 13 strikeouts. At 2 this afternoon, the WKU softball team began their 3-part series this weekend in Tennessee against MTSU. Last year, the Lady Toppers lost 2 out of the 3 games. The Lady Tops won their second game after the initial defeat, but couldn't come back as strong as they lost the third game 2-5. This season, the Lady Tops have remained very competitive as their current record is 30-9. MTSU's current record is 25-18. After today's game, the Lady Toppers will play again at 4 and then Saturday at 1. The WKU baseball team traveled to Nashville this past Tuesday and took on a competitive game against Belmont. The Tops stayed in the lead the entire game, ending the game with a win of 12-7. The competition was pretty steady throughout the game, but Belmont failed to come out with a win. WKU junior Jack Wilson led the team offensively with 3 runs, while Jack Chaco led the team defensively with 4 strikeouts. WKU is on a 5-game win streak against Belmont in baseball history. As WKU season winds down, reporter Dylan Olson spoke to one nationally ranked player who's a star on the Hill.
With the swing of the bat, the ball flies through the air. Running the bases is a junior transfer. Jake Sanford came to Western Kentucky from a community college in Nebraska. Originally from Nova Scotia, baseball wasn't the only sport the Northerner played.
I don't know, ever since I was a little kid, I liked playing baseball. I played hockey in the winter, and then I played baseball in the summer. That was the thing to do.
And with baseball came an opportunity to go further.
I knew I could go farther in baseball. I played hockey growing up, but I feel like my passion for baseball is a lot stronger.
That passion got the attention of head coach John Pulowski.
You know, when we saw him in the fall, what he certainly was capable of doing, we thought, man, this is pretty special to have that much power and be that type of player.
When Sanford was in Nebraska, he hit 23 home runs in just over 100 games. In 35 games as a Hill topper, Sanford has crushed balls at an even higher rate, hitting 16 so far. Sanford says the answer is actually pretty simple.
Well, when I was in Nebraska, we swung wood bats actually, so that's a little bit of a change.
With the numbers adding up for Sanford, Pulowski says pitchers are starting to take notice.
Teams are pitching him tough now. They see the numbers jump off the charts. So, but he's been able to handle it, and he's done a great job with it.
With only 15 games remaining in the season, Sanford is looking to keep hitting the ball out of the park.
Hopefully over 20. I think I want to get to 22. That would be a good number for me. Hopefully this week in a couple.
Reporting for the Extra Point, I'm Dylan Olson.
Jake Sanford and WKU are back in action this weekend with a 3-game series against CUSA opponent Florida Atlantic. This is Coach Patton's first Nationals win in her career with the Lady Topperettes. Coming up on the Extra Point, find out if your favorite golfer walked away with a green jacket this past weekend at the Masters.
And we talk all things NFL, and you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
The Lady Topper golf team traveled south to the Sunshine State to compete in the CUSA golf tournament this past weekend. Megan Clark was a standout to no surprise as she earned her 4th top 10 performance as she tied for 10th place overall with her 2 over par score. That score is the lowest conference score ever to be shot by a Lady Topper, knocking off previously regioning champ Georgina Blackman by 1 shot. The Lady Tops finished their season with 4 top 4 finishes as a team, with one of those finishes being a victory. Tigers back at it again. After a decade of not walking away with a green jacket, Tiger Woods finished first in the 2019 Masters tournament with a score of 13 under par. This is Woods' 5th time winning the tournament, with his last time being in 2005. It has been quite a few years since Tiger's last major championship win, which was the U.S. Open in 2008. It was doubted by many that Woods would be able to be as successful as he was in years past. Former NBA star Michael Jordan said that he believes that this is the greatest comeback he has ever seen in sports history. 3 players also from the United States tied for second place as Xander Schauffele, Brooks Koepka, and Dustin Johnson all scored 12 under par.
And Noah McGee joins us in studio to discuss his NFL draft predictions.
That's right, and next week all eyes will be on the Arizona Cardinals as they're on the clock. And new head coach Cliff Kingsbury is going to need somebody to run his air raid offense in Arizona, and all signs are pointing towards that being a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, Kyler Murray. Now, despite them drafting Josh Rosen with 10th overall last year, looks like they might be moving on for him. So look for the Cardinals to trade him during the draft next week and see if they can get anything out of him as they bring in Kyler as a new guy. Now, with Ohio State's Dwayne Haskins, who threw 50 touchdown passes last season, people feel like that his skill set and a hybrid pro spread style offense can fit in with the Giants. But however, look out for the Washington Redskins to trade inside of the top 10 to take him and then replace their guys and run Jay Gruden's system in Washington. And if you want a feel-good story for the NFL draft, look for Kalen Davis out of the University of Charleston, who had 34.5 sacks. Now, it was a Division II school, and while he dominated at the Senior Bowl and the NFL Players Association Bowl, he did all that while blind in his right eye. So if America's looking for somebody to get behind this weekend for the draft, look for Kalen Davis to be your guy.
On Wednesday, the Game 4 series for the first round of the NHL playoffs resulted in the Bruins, the Stars, and the Avalanche all walking away with a win. Yesterday, the Washington Capitals took on the Carolina Hurricanes, resulting in the Hurricanes moving on to the next round of the playoffs. Yesterday was also the beginning of the Game 5 series, with the Blues and the Sharks advancing to the next level. Tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs will cut up the ice against the Boston Bruins at 6, and the Colorado Avalanche will take place on the Calgary Flames at 9. The Game 6 series of the first round will begin on Saturday. Moving on to basketball, the NBA is currently in the first round of the playoffs. Wednesday, the Detroit Pistons played the Milwaukee Bucks, resulting in the Bucks coming away with the win. Utah Jazz also played the same night against the Houston Rockets, with the Rockets zooming to victory. Yesterday, the 76ers and the Spurs and the Warriors all won to advance themselves onto the next level of the playoffs. Tonight, the Toronto Raptors played Orlando Magic at 6. The Boston Celtics played the Indiana Pacers at 7:30, and the Portland Trail Blazers play Oklahoma City Thunder at 8:30.
Coming up, we take a trip down the road to Warren East. Stay tuned.
And we've got all you need to know on how the 2018 Midwest League champions are starting out their season coming up. The 2019 Warren East softball team came into last night's game against Muhlenberg County looking to etch their position in the Lady Raider history book with the best start to a season in school history. The Mustangs felt the fury to the Lady Raiders base running early. Here's Lucy Patterson nailing bunt, and after a wild throw, she's off to the races. Nearly overrunning the base here, there was no slowing down Patterson, and the story was the same for the Lady Raiders team all night, as she would go on to win 5 innings with a 13-0 final and are now officially off to the best start in Lady Raider history. Even after their win last night, you can see here Warren East still sits at second under KHSAA rules. In the Region 4 standings behind Barron County, who have gone 20-2 this season, the reason KHSAA has Barron County at number 1 is because losses aren't considered in the standings. As you can see here, Russell County, Logan County, Russellville, and South Warren round out the 3 through 6 spots in the standings, with Monroe and Metcalfe County falling closely behind. It's one of my favorite parts of the show. Next up, we hit you with this week's Jaw Dropper.
In our favorite part of the show, where we break loose and talk everything about why we love sports. Going up for 2 is next.
This week's Hero on the Hill is special because it is not 1 but 2 Hilltoppers. Western Kentucky's Kelsey Ike took a no-hitter in the bottom of the 9th inning in Wednesday's softball game against Tennessee Tech. The junior took with her a career high of 13 strikeouts in this game. Tom Bevington, WKU's golfer, was named to CUSA All-Academic Team. Bevington is a junior from across the pond in St. Albans, England. Bevington is proving that both academics and athletics are extremely important for a student athlete. Congratulations, Ike and Bevington. You are this week's Heroes on the Hill.
All right, Elizabeth, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. Let's break loose of the scripts, throw them away, and let's go for 2.
So today is actually pretty rainy, but this past week has been full of sunshine and warm weather, and that just makes me think of baseball.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. You know, MLB opening night was just a few weeks ago, so I know we're jumping way far ahead in the calendar here, but let's go ahead and talk some very early World Series predictions. I already have one. The Astros, you know, they fell short as repeating champs in 2018, and I really think that's going to ignite a fire under their bottoms to then really go really far. In October this year, young stars such as Michael Brantley, Verlander, and Cole will all help the Astros just really go far in October. So I'm really excited to see them.
I agree, but you know, the team that I'm looking out for is the Cubs. So last season they started off strong, but they faded out. But you know, this year they've had a good off season and quite a few prospects coming into this 2019 season. They will have to watch out for the Brewers and the Cardinals. But with Chris Bryant and Darvish in the pitching rotation, I think that it's going to be a great season.
I could not agree with you more. Alrighty, guys, that's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for tuning into the Extra Point, and as always, it's up
And it's
good. Have a great night.